Yes, in this episode we are going to cover the 7400, the NAND gate. And that is by far the most common type of gate that you are going to encounter. The NAND gate is the easiest to implement with normal transistor technology, as it only requires 4 transistors to work. Of course, the modern circuits are much more complicated than that, and they are also, of course, implemented in some kind of MOS technology, not regular bipolar technology as they was back in the day. But now let's cover the basics of the NAND gate and a bit more intricate use too. So let's get cracking on episode 4 on my Christmas calendar for 2023. Yeah, now it's my number 4 December episode. And today we are going to speak about the NAND gate. I'm using this pen, it's a bit better. And the NAND gate is pictured something like this. And the Y output here. And as you can see, this combines the AND element and the inverter element for this. And this is it's a trunking of the parts, because when you have an inverter function on these, it's often pictured with this in here. And we can go for the DIN versions of these symbols. You still have this one, and then you have this one, or in the other cases where you have the circular approach like so. So all of these are NAND gates, and NAND gates are by far the most common gate used. And we will get back to why it is so much used later. And if we pick up a truth table for this, it will be something along the lines, or as we have said, not something along the lines, but exactly like so. And we are doing the counting like so with 2 inputs. And what we have here is that this is basically an AND gate, and that means that you will need to have both A and B high to get 1 out here, and then it will be inverted to 0. And that is the case you have down here. In any other case, this will go out to 0 and it will be inverted to a 1. So this truth table will look something like this. In Boolean algebra, it's normally stated like this, and inverted. A times B inverted. And this is also called a zero detector. And the reason for this is maybe obvious, because it will give out a 1, whichever output is drawn to a 0 or low input, and otherwise it will give out a 0 on itself. And we do have to look on this on a time scale. Just do my normal drawing on this, and I try to use the same input. If it looks the same each time, I will be not the best judge, because I'm always surprised when I manage to do something that looks on some level readable. And this one is the one that is half the frequency and timed like so. Yeah, it goes a bit upwards, but that's good. And as I said, this is a 0 detector. So if any one of these are a 0, you will get 1 out. That means that we start with a high. And this is the first case where we have both high. So then it will switch to a low input, and it will stay for so. And until we get over here. And the same on this one. So that's the output of this one in its most simple terms. And we do of course have the part itself, the 7400. This is the most famous TTL chip of them all. And when I say the NAND gate is most used, it's not necessarily the 7400. even though it's a very popular component. It's the gate itself as a NAND gate that has the most use. And the reason for that is that it's often used in programmable logic, where everything starts out as NAND gates, and you do the connections internally with your programming tools. And the reason for that is the versatility of the NAND gate, where it can, as we will see later, turn into other pieces of logic. Yeah, this was kind of a ugly version, and we have, of course, the more modern representation, like so. Yeah, like so. And we have discovered the truth table. We have spoken about the symbols. We have spoken about some of the use on this. And we have to go down and see what implementations and what applications and some practical use. And if I'm going to draw 3 cases down here, like so. And we have the Y, Y, Y. And the first case we are going to look into is if I tie one input to 5 volt or a high. Then we put a pulse train into this input. And this is the B and this is the A. And this one is if I put this to ground or 0. And this is the B, and we have the pulse train in here on the A input. And this one I tie both together and put the pulse train in on this. And then I'm going to have my A, and I'm going to have my Y. 1, 0, 1, 0. A, Y, 1, 0, 1, 0. A, Y, 1, 0, 1, 0. And I'm going to use the pulse train from the input, like so. And you can see in here, this is sticking to a 1. And that means the only applicable situations we have is these 3 here. And what happens with a 1? You can see it really doesn't matter much until both of them are 1. Then it will turn into a 0. If just one of them is high, it will be a 1 on the output. And of course, when this is stuck to high, we will get this signal out. And the reason for that is that when this is turning low, they will give out a 1, and when it's turning high, both are high, it will get a 0. So it actually has an inverter. And this one down here, I put in my same pulse train, but this is tied to 0. That means that I have one of the cases up here, because every one of these will be a 0 in one of the cases here. Either both is 0, one of them is 0. And that means that this is stuck high. It doesn't matter what the input is. And that we said it's a 0 detector, so you really got that one for free. And in the case here where we have connected both the inputs together, I will quickly draw up my pulse train. And here we can see that we have both of the inputs are following each other, and that means that we have this case or this case, because either one is both 0 or both 1, so we will never get into any of these cases. And you can see if both are 0, it will be a 1, and if both are 1, it will be a 0. So this will actually be like so. So that will act as an inverter in this case. And that's really it for the NAND gate today. Next we are going to cover some combinational logic, I think. I have not really decided yet. Yes, and that was my fourth episode in my Christmas calendar series for 2023. And we have now covered some of the major gate types, and we have also learned something about combining gates, but we are still going to continue with some basic gates and logic in the next episode. So please stay tuned, and I also put on a link down to my old Christmas calendar if someone wants to browse by that. So thanks for watching, hope to see you again tomorrow.